This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Big news here, the CDC eviction moratorium has just been declared unlawful in a court ruling while some Congress members are trying to extend the eviction ban. The Treasury Secretary just said that the debt ceiling needs to be raised even higher by August 2nd or there'll be big problems. I'll let you know how this relates to future stimulus. There are $1,000 thank you stimulus checks going out to people in 7 different states. And with frustration building over the infrastructure talks and how they're lagging, Bernie Sanders put out a powerful video which I'll share with you. You don't want to miss that one. Plus I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate these daily updates with no fluff, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving out $200 to my subscribers, and I'll have details to that later on in the video. But first, Tokyo Olympics begin with a muted ceremony and empty stadiums. So because of what's going on with cases rising in Japan, there are no fans or spectators in the Olympics, which I think is the first time ever happening. So the performance had no cheering or clapping or anything like that. It was just filmed, and some volunteers got to see it up close. Meanwhile, protesters among hundreds to gather at Olympic Stadium during opening ceremony. So at this opening ceremony, there were a bunch of protesters saying, hey, there's a lot of COVID cases going on in Japan and around the world, a lot of deaths. This isn't the time to have the Olympics. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Should the Olympics continue and go on despite of what's going on around the world with COVID cases, or should it be canceled? Should it have been canceled? I think the irony here too is that the protesters, if you look at any pictures, they're kind of in crowds too, like all tight together, and they're protesting, you know, the COVID cases against the Olympics. I find it a little ironic, but let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Next, let's talk about you could get a surprise $1,000 stimulus check if you live in one of these 7 states. So this article just came out yesterday. So Americans in 7 states may get a surprise $1,000 stimulus check if they are a teacher. So in states Georgia, Florida, California, Colorado, Tennessee, and Texas, they are giving out $1,000 thank you stimulus checks out to the teachers in all of those states, plus personnel and staff. And then Michigan is going to give out $500 checks to teachers. Or actually, sorry, they did give out $500 checks in February. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. I spoke about this in the past. It was just 4 states just a few days ago. Now it's 7 states. Should this money go to teachers? Should it be used for other things in the district? Should it be used for other school programs? Or do you think it's justified for teachers to get the $1,000 checks? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Next, let's talk about infrastructure. So as frustration builds, as infrastructure talks drag, really is dragging. They've put out a bunch of deadlines, and the deadlines just keep getting rolled over and saying, yes, we're about to do it. It's about to happen. Bernie Sanders is one of those people who are standing up and saying action needs to be taken right now, despite a lot of what the Republican pushback is in terms of getting stuff done. I'll let you know what the last obstacle and hiccup is in a moment. But first, here's a video by Bernie Sanders talking about what needs to happen moving forward.
This is a left-wing dream of Bernie Sanders.
Medicare expansion, the child tax credit.
Affordable housing, I don't know what that means.
What makes the Republicans very nervous, and they are, it is true, they are, is they know that this is an extremely popular set of proposals, long overdue.
Universal pre-K, more expanded child care.
Oh, they love the family medical leave.
And a good chunk of dough going to free community college education.
On virtually every single proposal, it has widespread support from the American people.
Pre-K, paid for extended family leave, free community college. They want those enacted into law.
Let Mr. Barrasso go to the folks in Wyoming and ask them whether they think it's a good idea that they should be paying, a third of their income in child care.
And they want to expand Medicare. They want to expand Medicaid.
Ask elderly people who don't have any teeth in their mouth whether they should be able to get dentures through Medicare.
You've got Civilian Climate Corps, something new.
Ask the scientific community whether the time is now in a big way to deal with climate. Ask the ordinary American consumer whether we should take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, which charges us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs.
What they're planning on is to jack up taxes on wealthier Americans and businesses.
In fact, by demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes, We're going to pay for it in a progressive way.
Let me know your thoughts on that Bernie Sanders video. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know your thoughts on that. So, transit funding is a final obstacle to an infrastructure deal. Basically talking about the 80-20 split and why does it matter. So basically, to sum it up, transit funding is supposedly the biggest deal, how they're going to fund the transit. It's been changing a lot. It's kind of specific here. I'm just going to give you the overview. So what's going on here is they said that the bill was going to be officially done and written and voted on, but yet it hasn't been finished, and they keep saying, oh, this is the last obstacle, the last obstacle. So transit funding seems to be the last obstacle. We don't know if there's going to be another obstacle after that, but once they figure out the transit funding, it seems that funding and the pay-fors for the infrastructure packages have been one of the biggest hiccups and holdups. But the homework assignment was due over a week ago, and there is no accountability for that. Therefore, Congress could just keep delaying it and delaying it until they go onto their vacation in August coming up. So I'll keep you updated on that when this finally gets figured out. So Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary to Congress, said raise the debt ceiling or risk irreparable harm. So the debt ceiling needs to be raised as soon as August 2nd. If it isn't raised by August 2nd, I guess there's going to be a lot of harm to the economy. Here's a video clip explaining more of this timeline with the debt ceiling and what this means moving forward for future stimulus.
Secretary Janet Yellen alerted lawmakers that the nation will hit the debt limit on August the 1st, and she urged Congress to take action soon. Now, already, Treasury is planning to stop the sale of certain state and local government securities on July 30th, just before that debt limit deadline. The department will then have to resort to additional extraordinary measures on August the 2nd. Now, Yellen did not provide an estimate of how long these tools might last. The Congressional Budget Office had projected October or even November, but Yellen said the pandemic has made this timing particularly uncertain, and those extraordinary measures could run out shortly after Congress returns from its summer recess. Today, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the administration expects lawmakers to act promptly, but didn't say whether it should be addressed in one of those infrastructure bills.
I'm not here to set a new deadline. I'm conveying to you the history and conveying to you that we think it's clear Congress should act in a bipartisan manner to raise the debt limit as they have in the past.
Now, of course, guys, the U.S. has never defaulted on its debt, and Yellen said that doing so would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy and American livelihoods.
Raising the debt ceiling is a bipartisan solution, which means both Democrats and Republicans would have to come together on this and agree on it. And where we're at so far, well, Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Minority Leader, predicts that no Republicans will support raising the debt ceiling, meaning that if we don't have the debt ceiling raised, honestly, I don't know. We've had this debt for many decades, and I don't know what it means if the debt isn't paid off. I think it's at $30 trillion so far in debt. I don't know if China's going to have to start coming in and I don't know, collecting, repossessing stuff. I don't know how this works with the debt ceiling, but supposedly it's really bad for the economy. Moving forward, the U.S. Appeals Court finds CDC eviction moratorium unlawful. So the CDC eviction moratorium was put in place last year by former President Trump. This was the loophole to extend the eviction moratorium. Now it's considered unlawful according to a court. So what does this mean moving forward? Well, the CDC eviction moratorium was set to expire at the end of July. So this ruling comes out just a week before, which is still unfortunate, but it isn't enough to really change things too much. Now there are some representatives such as Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, calls on the CDC to extend the eviction ban. So what Ocasio-Cortez said in a statement on Friday, urging Biden administration to prevent the CDC's ban on most evictions from expiring on July 31st, despite the agency saying in June it would not likely extend the ban past that date. So when they extended it just, I think, 3 days before the June deadline, they said, all right, we're going to extend it one more month in July, but then it's not going to be extended after that. So I think despite all of the calls and urges for it to be extended, it may not be extended, but there's one big issue. One of the reasons why they want it to be extended is because of this. So The government officials distributed just 6.5% of available rental aid in first half of 2021, which is really shameful. So that means out of $45 billion that was set aside for rental assistance to help people through the pandemic and to get on their feet and make sure that they didn't fall behind on rent, didn't get evicted, that it was going to cover 12 months of rent, including back rent and future rent. So out of the $45 billion, just $3 billion over the course of half of the year was distributed. Only 6.5%. So this is going to cause a much bigger problem than we realize. There's going to be a tsunami of evictions because all those people who applied for rental assistance, they were put on wait lists, and because of states' incompetence and bulky systems, that money was not able to go out to people who were about to be evicted, who did everything on their part right, but unfortunately the states were too slow in sending out that money. So I'll keep you updated on what happens with that. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Janine Davis asks, what about kids that were filed in 2020 at age 17, then turned 18 during tax season? It's not fair. They should qualify for the child tax credit as they were of age during the time the bill passed. Yeah, I see what you mean. So in terms of how the age works for the child tax credit, the child has to be 17 on the first. All right, so to give you an example, for the 2021 child tax credit, if your child is 17 on January 1st of 2022, then you will get that child tax credit. If they are 18 on January 1st of 2022, then you will not get that child tax credit. So that's the way it works. I know a lot of people are kind of getting gypped with that. Next question comes from Rose Earhart. What's with all these vacations? I agree. Congress is taking a ton of vacations. There's called state work periods. They're supposed to be working, but honestly, there's no accountability, so they could do whatever they want. Marvin Gates, how do I get the $200? So I am giving out $200 checks to my subscribers. There's 3 things you have to do. You have to be subscribed to this channel, and I have details and instructions below this video. Then you have to be subscribed to my other 2 channels, Wise Sense and Wise Vibes, and then comment on a past video, but I have all the details to that of the instructions down in the description below. Laura Patterson says, when do they go on their August recess? So for the House of Representatives, they're leaving on the 30th for their vacation, and then for the Senate, they're leaving on the 6th. The House isn't returning until September 20th. The Senate isn't returning until, I think, a week before that. Next question comes from Kimberly Garrett. How is it the person that filed for the unemployment their fault? They approved it, so they shouldn't have to pay it back. Yeah, so referring to North Carolina, I spoke about this in yesterday's video, how North Carolina is trying to recall $350 million in unemployment benefits that they already paid out by mistake, and now they want that money back. The money's already gone. If people are unemployment, they did everything right, and I think it's a really sticky situation. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully cheer you up a bit, here is my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I'm going to tell them one thing they should do. Treat people equally. Because that you have to be nice to people. If you be nice to people, they will be nice to you. It will work. Try.
Thank you so much for watching up until this point. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you do something fun, spend some time with family and friends, do something that makes you happy. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you can click this link up here for my other 2 channels, or this link for more stimulus updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.